Ladies and gentlemen, it's Adrian's Dunchik, CMT Charter Market Technician. Welcome to today's AMA session with our very good friends from Credify, who are incredible partners. And for those who are new to Credify, they are the bridge. They are what actually bridges the EU's financing gap by connecting crypto lenders with the SME borrowers, small and medium-sized enterprises. For those who are actually decoding this abbreviation, join them and us on today's AMA session. And I'm joined as well by Eva, who's my good friend. I truly admire what they're doing alongside their team by bridging the assets again from the crypto world to the traditional finance. And there's so much to be said and lots of updates. How is it going, Eva? How are you feeling today?
Great, actually. We have been quite busy over the past couple of months, although, summer was, full speed, but we kept on developing and we're just waiting for the market to turn a bit and start releasing a lot of new updates, a lot of new developments on our side. But in any case, Q4 is gonna be very exciting. Let's say. Just we have such big plans. Hopefully, everything goes according to plan and the roadmap is fulfilled. We're doing our best. So yeah, we're very optimistic. Let's say.
No, my man, I couldn't agree more. And that actually transpires to a lot of things that we're looking at in the side of the charts, right? The charts tell us the story. Some of the times it tell us the full story. Most of the time it tells us almost the full story, right? The extent to which the markets are inefficient or efficient, how well we are all informed. That's an academic debate. However, what matters more is what we look what the traders are doing, right? And the traders are clearly, in case of Credify, who are, like I said, our incredible partners with under the Credify token, the CREDI, hashtag CREDI. This is actually reflecting what Eva and I had just briefly mentioned before getting on this session. It's a summertime, right? And this summertime, like any other summertime, basically translates to a lot of sideways price action. We are here, right? July through August right now, closing August soon to September. And this is exactly where we are. Most of the coins, most of the crypto assets, most of the world's assets, traditional finance stocks, all of it kind of like typically goes sideways, right? Which means that we typically would oscillate between certain bands, between the inside of the range bound environment, right? We have some sort of like a floor, we have some sort of like a ceiling that is clearly pointed out right there with the traders, basically bears dominating on there around the 0.025, 0.020, 0.013, 0.014 is actually the floor right now. And those give us the distinct line in the sand basically for the support and resistance based on the price action. Here we are a little bit more conservative, I should say, with the resistance high time frame trailer stop at our custom indicator, high time frame trailer pointing to the resistance at 0.021. So all of those things tell us that basically before we rip higher, before we continue to see what we saw earlier this year, basically with this massive, incredible growth from 0.005 all the way to 0.06, that we know that Credify can do it. And we know that Credify can do it not only because of its incredible intrinsic value, it also can do it because of the seasonal impacts. And September is right around the corner, being slightly negative on average, right? Slightly negative is actually the most negative aspect, the most negative time for traders, right? Typically, anybody who invests money in September, be it Bitcoin, cryptos, be it Nasdaq, S&P 500, it is all the only losing month on average out of the entire year. So here we are, boosted by incredible updates that Ivo is going to share with us in a moment. And what do we make out of that, Ivo? What do we make out of that, and how does it all come together with the current and upcoming utilities?
Yeah, well, as I said, we kind of went into the summer, prepping everything, all the clocks and the machinery, to work properly together. So uh, basically, we focused on polishing, on design as well, and right now we're just about to start releasing. We're just waiting for everybody to be back at full speed, back in the offices. We think that this is, better to wait it out than hastily like release stuff without people noticing. But anyway, just about the corner, as you said, in September, we're very bullish on both credit utilities on our new products which are coming in. I know I have said it before regarding our NFT corporate bonds. Uh, we had to delay them a couple of times. Again, it was mainly due to timing, due to market conditions, but in Q3, we're definitely releasing them. We're releasing them with an amazing partner, to be honest. We're actually preparing, and we're currently speaking for the marketing. Hopefully, we're gonna be able to release them and to coincide with Token 2049, which that would be amazing regarding the NFT bonds. And our X-Credit utilities are gonna be released even sooner. They're released probably in the coming days. Basically, we have different tiered levels where people can actually uh, benefit the most from using the platform, and also benefit the most from traditional, let's say, methodologies and aspects of compounding, of actually earning yield, of passive income. So anyone who is prepared, let's say, or who wants to hedge, or who wants to, let's say, do some treasury management, is gonna benefit greatly by using our passive income tools, namely the autonomous earning, then the corporate bonds, and also our peer-to-peer segment is coming as well. So that way you will be earning, as I said, uh, fixed yield. We have always said that this is very important for us, and the fact that we're operating with SMEs from the real economy gives us this opportunity to actually have this fixed income and fixed APY. And you can actually boost it with our utilities. How we can do that is through um, becoming part of one of our tiers with our X-Credit utilities and getting instant ROI. When I
Mm-hmm.
say instant ROI, what it means is that you are actually gaining your yield before maturity. You're getting it at the start of your lending period rather than at the end of it. So basically, you can compound and you can earn on top of your yield from the beginning. So let's say, to put it into some numbers, you can basically lend out, let's say, $1,000. You can earn the 12% yield straight away. So actually, you will receive $120 straight away due to our utilities, and then you can reinvest them in our autonomous earning, gain another $12 straight away, and then reinvest. And you can do that all the time until actually the gas fees are higher than your let's say instant ROI reward. This would work greatly because, to be honest, this also brings up your percentage on your return, and it works great for treasury management, especially for short-term, let's say, lending.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that all makes sense, right? What I'm trying to figure out is putting myself in a complete layman's shoes, right? The compounding factor obviously is very important because when we compound even on low interest, this is what actually makes money, right?
Yeah.
This is what makes a lot of money. And when I think of the instant ROI utility right there with the X credit, that's something that I would be looking forward to, right? So in 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 a very simple terms, like if anyone wants to get actual advantage, take use of this opportunity with the instant ROI. What's the simplest, the most straightforward, the easiest, way for them to engage on that front?
Well, there's two ways. One is to try and acquire X credit directly on an exchange. We're currently actually only on Dexes. X credit is our governance token and the one which actually brings the most out of the platform. The other way is actually staking their credit into our Module X, which works as our guarantee fund for any defaults in case they happen. Up until now, They have never happened, but we are very cautious and very, let's say, um, we are always thinking of, preserving the funds of our users. So, the security model is part of our three-layer security mechanism. So you can stake your credit there, and basically 6 months later you will earn our governance token, XCREDI. Current ratio of conversion is 1 to 11. So for every single XCREDI, you need to stake 11 credit. It's very simple to use, very user friendly, and straight after you do this, you can basically join our tier program.
Okay, fair enough. It doesn't seem too complicated, right? Does it? So,
Yeah,
what do you,
I do think so. I mean, there are some steps which you need to go through, but as I said, like it is designed for the most, let's say, loyal and for the most loyal customers who want to gain as much as possible from our services and products.
Mm, right on. So, what takes me actually to to the very deeper down the rabbit hole aspect, in terms of the RWAs, right? Because
Yeah.
obviously you're bridging the traditional finance with the tokenized assets, right there. Tokenized RWAs is something that you're uh, as a brand very strong with, right? And as I'm looking at a global market overview right now by the RWA.xyz, it's 11.69 billion actually in the total RWA on chain right now, with the number of total holders,
Can you hear me?
total asset holders close to 62,000, total asset issuers 101, total stablecoin value 170
Can
billion,
you hear me?
right? Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Just I think my broke for a bit.
Easy, no worries. No worries. So what we're looking at is for everybody that obviously there is a very decent amount of interest that's been piling up, over the last 2 or 3 years, with the massive sharp increase and incline from basically 7.5 all the way doubling. So 100% increase in in
Hello?
what it
Can you
is.
hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. And what it is basically a year from now, right? On a year back. That's a very positive, very big RWA, kind of like a value capitalization increase, right? So what we're talking about ultimately right now is the massive increase of the RWAs, right? We are witnessing this massive change, as the Larry thing basically said the other day at the beginning of the year before launching the ETFs, the spot Bitcoin ETFs, that crypto is a flight to quality, right? So what do we make out of that, Ivo? What do we think about the overall trends on the RWAs and the traditional instruments?
Well, I think that they are gonna become one and the same at certain point. I mean, um, traditional instruments, they have been so long traded only for brokerage companies, investment banks. I think that this is changing. The trend is actually bringing such instruments on chain gives accessibility. Let's say it gives freedom to to financial services to everybody. This is one of the beautiful aspects of the blockchain technology as a whole. And I think people, even from larger industries, even from investment companies, they see this potential of actually having an open market 24/7, with very low fees, accessible by anyone. This is all, let's say, I actually view it not as, let's say, I view it as a natural innovation and natural path towards trading such kind of instruments, rather than reinventing them. It's just the next logical step into trading, into actually exchanging such kind of instruments and goods over basically anyone who has connection to the internet can actually participate in it. So I think that there are only plus sides on it. The only maybe minor, let's say, issue which I can see is that the sector is growing so fast that people cannot catch. Um, how to explain it? It's just so much noise into the space that people have difficulty to actually focus on certain, let's say,
Hmm.
aspects of it.
True. True. I got you. I got you. Which actually takes me, to slightly different take right now, because speaking of the bonds, right?
Yeah,
Some time ago, I saw this news. By the way, congratulations! This is an official strategic partnership that you guys had with the Credit Coin,
yeah.
right? And it does regard the tokenized, or NFT bonds. So we are dealing still with the synthetic asset, with some sort of like a new creation of an instrument that bridges literally that the traditional, the Web 2 and the Web 3 right here. So why don't we spend a couple of minutes talking about those tokenized bonds, NFT bonds, how it all collides, how it all connects, and how Credit Coin partnership helps you do this.
Well, the Credit Coin partnership is a very strategic one. They're basically not. I don't want to get into too much details because they're still preparing some stuff on their side,
Hmm.
but they're basically actually working on bringing real world liquidity into the space. However, what I mean by real world liquidity is actually bringing fiat money on chain and then investing them into and towards assets which are more traditional, let's say. So both, let's say, both of our projects, both of our companies are aiming to bring a traditional aspect. On our side, we are offering traditional instruments which generate yield. On their side, they want to bring liquidity from the traditional world on chain, but not just invest it in any DeFi, let's say, instrument, but rather in a more conservative and more safe and secure, let's say, instrument and company. So, I mean, we have very good synergies with them uh, because we're both trying to bring the actual economic value on chain, but from different perspectives, let's say.
Got it. Got it. It all makes sense, right? And as I'm thinking of what's ahead, basically trying to look ahead, the key statistics for September, as it kind of like translates to what to expect, for instance, right, for everybody's attention, is that, like I mentioned, September is the worst month out there. Period. Right. That's on average a 5.5% loser. Annualized return is minus 50% approximately. Positive months only 42%, so 58% approximately is negative. The maximum gain ever got out of September is 7.7, while maximum loss it's 37%. Also, big numbers skewing the entire price action expectations towards the downside. However, there is the end of the light at the end of the tunnel, basically, right?
Yeah,
Because right after we're talking about quarter 4, that strategically and historically returns 50% on average. So we're talking about September that loses 6.5% or 5.5%, depending on the data stretch. Right there on average, that is a loser. And this is taking us literally as the buy the dip opportunity into the most positive months of October and November. October is 22% on average, or 15%, depending on the data. Again, it's very positive. It's 20 percentage points higher. November is 42% return, at least if we take into consideration 2011 and 2023 data. All this takes me to the very bright expectations for quarter 4. And here we are, basically with the latest take from the Jackson Hole, basically from Fed, from Jay Powell, right? They're declaring that time has come, right, for the rate cuts. That immediately boosted, the expectations of everybody, of the traders, of the investors, regarding the next FOMC basically message that is in 21 days decision, with the
hmm
expectations of 65% at basically 50 to 525 right now. That is basically even lower than what we are at right now at the current rate of 525, 550. So 65% of 25 basis point cut and 50% basis point cut is basically taking us with 34% probability. So what was happening with Japan, Bank of Japan, with all those kind of like Nikkei 225 just
Mhm.
crashes, trying, attempt of a rate hikes right there. There was such a big mess, such a big,
Yeah,
tornado hurricane that actually flipped the, it tipped the weight, if you will, right? And it basically
yeah.
made J Powell dovish. That brings us with the QE, quantitative easing, on the table. So what do we make out of that, Ivo?
Well, generally speaking, when QE comes into play, all of the assets, all of the traditional assets are on the rise. Overall, the whole idea of QE is actually to inject money into the economy, right? So um, we are and to be honest, QE is basically cutting rates. Uh, so we are expecting this as well. We think that overall the quarter ending, let's say Q4, the end of the year is gonna be very bullish, as you said yourself. Both from a cyclical perspective, as you just explained, regarding the different returns during the different months, but also due to the rate cuts. This would mean that people will have more liquidity. They will be looking for opportunities to inject this liquidity into, and this is also one of the reasons why we have been, as I said, to a certain extent, delaying some of the releases, but also, focusing on development and actually having working and very well designed products to offer once this liquidity frees up. So, uh, you know, we want to be prepared as much as possible for actually having a very positive and very bullish run, and actually giving the opportunity to people not only to invest their liquidity but actually start earning from day one a very decent yield on it. This is in terms of the products. And then on the other side, in terms of our token and token performance, this is also why we want to release our utilities as well. Is that when people, let's say, decide to invest into our token, they will have also not only the speculative aspect of it, but actually the utility of it as well. So our core focus over the last couple of months has been, since we last spoke, has been development and actually preparing for a huge bull run. Hopefully it happens. I'm quite confident that it will, if everything which we have just discussed comes into play. And then, yeah, basically we want to position ourselves as one of the leaders within the space in terms of RWAs and tokenizing such kind of assets and trading them as well.
What I'm thinking, Ivo, is basically, because you were obviously very right there. What I'm thinking is, again, just trying to think of the new viewers and new listeners who are just kind of like coming to learn about Credify. What would you say is the main kind of like a final takeaway that you would love for them to take a look at, where they can learn more about Credify, and how can they stay updated?
Well, we are very active on X. Sorry, I'm kind of, the name has stuck with me, but we are
Aren't we
very,
all? Aren't we all, my friend?
yeah, we're very active on X. We're very active on Telegram. Me personally, I'm every day answering people in Telegram as well. Our website is always up to date as well when we are releasing news or PR articles. And yeah, basically just search Credify on Google, and I'm sure quite a lot of things will come up where you can easily find us.
That's right. So if you are on X, I highly recommend so that you actually take a look at their incredible Twitter X profile at credify underscore finance, at credify underscore finance. make sure once you're there, make sure to hit the follow button. There you have about 50,000 people. 50,000 people, not sure, Evo, you realize that's a big stadium of people. That's almost as many as Taylor
Yeah.
Swift in one concert fits in, right? That's pretty
We
interesting.
have worked really hard to actually gain such attention. However, we have higher aims. Let's say that's why we're also so glad we can speak with you guys.
Appreciate it so much, and that's, like I said, I endorse what you're doing, Evo, and you keep doing the great work that you were doing alongside your team, right? Because there is so much more happiness, there is so much more brightness, there is so much more bullishness to be had in the coming months, and perhaps it's just around the corner. We just need to hold on to what's happening in the next couple of weeks, and rest is the history, as they say.
Yeah, that's
So
true. Well, even in university, which actually it is kind of like my life motto as well, is prepare for the worst, hope for the best.
that's it.
We are at Credify, we're following that as well. Like that's why we focus on security. We focus on actually generating yield from true economic value. And however, of course, we are very optimistic on the future as a whole. So yeah.
Love it, love it. I'd highly encourage and join and welcome you to join to this party alongside Credify, alongside our party at the Birb Nest, and we're incredibly honored to have you as partners. Thanks so much, Eva, for spending with us such a long, decent time and sharing the wealth of knowledge with our viewers. Thank you
Well,
so much.
thank you for this opportunity. It's always a pleasure to speak with you guys and speak with people who are like-minded and who understand how the financial world actually works. Is always a pleasure for us.
Likewise, likewise, I could say exactly the same thing about you, Eva. Thank you so much, and see you on Token 2049. And for all the viewers and listeners, I'll see you on the next session. God bless you. I'll see you around, and bye bye.